Come on in.
Try it again. There it is. Okay. And then for your remote, on the side there's a blue button as well.
Okay.
Press and hold that, and just turn the screen on.
Yep.
Okay?
Okay.
So when you put the collar on him,
Yep.
you want it higher up here.
Okay.
You want to go, put it really tight, like you feel like he's choking, and you're going to loosen the notch, so it's really snug.
Okay. Make sure it's on top of the collar. Up here.
Yeah, the client I just had, he's in construction,
Oh yeah.
and he says they have a project in River North. Go on.
Yeah.
You
Go on.
could do it like,
I bet.
I think you have to go one looser.
Looser, Jesse?
Well, that's like choking him.
That's pretty tight on him, yeah.
I would
You're
go.
loosening a notch.
Yeah, these riots are crazy.
And he called me, he's like, we still being at Oz? I was like, yeah. But then she heard that maybe it was moving towards Oz or something. So then,
Let him
figured not risk it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty tight still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. That's good. All right, buddy. So he's currently scared of the old one that we had.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fine. There we go. Okay. So, what's the remote set to? The screen?
24.
Let's go down to like 14. Yeah, I can see the pacing right.
Yeah.
14?
Yep.
Okay. What we're going to do, well, before we go down there, let's go ahead and we'll take the leash here. Whoever's going to work first. Good. Okay. There we go.
Okay.
And go ahead and get your remote. Now, yours is going to look a little bit different, but the functions are the same. You have the stem, the continuous, and the vibrate function. Okay? And the one you got has more functions, like there's a light on the collar that either blinks white, or you can turn it on a full-on white light, so if it's dark at night and you want to see where he's at, it's got that on it. It also has a locking function, where like if you put it on 20 and you lock it, and you put it in your pocket, it won't
change
move the numbers,
Right.
which is nice. These are simpler. I just find that these are, for me, they're more smoother. I've had less issues with them, with having to be returned or anything like that. But otherwise, that collar is pretty good too. Okay. So the first thing we want to do here is find Leo's perception level. Okay. So that's the number that he feels. So you would see a contraction.
Okay.
Contraction doesn't mean anything. So you might find Leo staring off at something, and then you're tapping it, and then you're going to be bumping it, and you'll see the contraction happening, but he's completely unfazed.
Okay.
Okay. So you have connection. You just don't have connection with the brain, as I put it. Okay. So on 15?
14.
14? That's fine. Go ahead and on the bumpy buttons, the bumpy one on top.
The bumpy one?
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead and tap.
Press it once?
Yep. Tap. Tap. Okay, so you see how he kind of shifted a little bit, right? So there might be slight connection.
Okay.
Let's go to 18. And if you land on like 19 or something, that's fine. Okay, and
Do it again.
1 second. Now, tap. 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 Okay, see how he's not phased there? 22. Tap. 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 26.
Be tight enough, right, sir?
That's fine. It's because of the fur. This is not. This is normal. Tap. 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 30. Tap. 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 35. So I'm looking for the muscle twitch. Tap. 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 40. Tap. 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 45. You said yours has vibrate on it?
Yeah.
What's he do when you vibrate it?
Freaks out.
He's so scared of the vibrate.
On the front, you see where it says pager?
Yes.
Hit pager. Okay. So it's on. Okay.
Hey.
That's all right.
Okay.
There you go. So I want to check if the collar was still was actually on.
Okay.
So I just hit the pager. That's okay. You're at 45?
Yep.
Tap. Tap. Right there. You see that? Tap.
Yep.
Tap.
Yeah.
Right there. Right. Now let's go down to 38. Tap. There. Now you see that big movement.
Yep.
Okay. Let's try 35. Tap. There we go. That's about it right now.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm looking for the twitch plus something considered like a considerable response from him. So like, what's that, right?
Yeah.
But you see, like the vibrate freaked them out more than stim,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I see this happen a lot, and people tend to opt for the vibrate because it makes them feel better because they're not zapping their dog.
That's what we thought.
Yeah, but in some cases, it makes the dog more nervous, but also it's a flat vibration. There is no soft to medium to harsh vibration. So with this, we can really fine tune it, okay? So now what we're gonna do is we'll step down and we are gonna go to, I guess we'll use this little sidewalk right here, okay? And we're gonna start with the healing exercise, okay?
Do you want it to be just one at a time? So Kyle first.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
You wanna
If
go?
you wanna come down.
You want to do it, Sarah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'll go with you guys. I mean,
Yeah, I'm gonna have you guys switch off. Okay.
okay.
So you'll both get to work with him. Okay. So this exercise might be a little dizzying, okay? So I'm gonna explain it to you and I'll coach you through it. So most people when they teach the heel will pull, they'll like zap the dog and they'll pull them back and they'll say heel. Does that sound familiar? Okay.
We do treats at the side.
At the side?
Yeah.
Okay. Or they'll do that where they'll hold the food.
Yep.
Right? But the dog doesn't connect that part. Okay? What we want is for Leo to make mistakes and to do the forging ahead.
Yep.
Right? But now we have this tool at the appropriate number to start annoying him. So what it looks like is I'm walking with Leo, he goes ahead, I start pressing that button, and I'm gonna go the opposite way, and you will always turn to your right. Okay? Always to your right. Oh, actually, which side do you walk him on?
The right side.
You want it to be the right side?
It doesn't have to. It's just what we've done. What do you recommend?
I always do left because
Left
it's
side?
traditional.
Okay.
If you do right side, it just means instead of always turning to the right, you're always turning to the left.
Okay. Which side do you want?
It doesn't, honestly, I feel like he weaves, so I feel like he goes on either side of me, but it doesn't matter.
We'll do right side.
Okay, so we're gonna flip that. You're probably gonna have to remind me. Okay, so if I start talking about the left side,
Okay.
just tell me right side.
Okay.
Okay. So if he's gonna be on the right side, when he passes you, you'd always be making about left turns like this. Okay. So if he passes, tap, 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 tap. He's here.
Okay.
He goes again. To the left, tap, 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 tap. He's here. Good. He goes again. Tap, 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 tap. As you're moving, here. Okay.
Okay.
So you want him to have slack.
Okay.
So for Leo, he passes you up. He feels this, and he goes, "What's going on?" He turns. Oh, Dad's going that way. He catches up and stops. You see that?
Okay.
So you're stopping the remoting once Leo is on your side.
Okay.
Okay. In the beginning, he's going to be here for a moment, and then he's probably going to forge ahead. Okay. So I'm going to be coaching you left turn and all that stuff. But you're pretty much, if you're going just back and forth in a straight line, he's going to get it.
Okay.
Just don't get dizzy.
When he keeps coming, I turn left, go the other way,
Correct.
zap, zap, zap until he comes to my side.
Correct. And you're going to be completely relaxed.
Okay.
Okay. Now, when you do your turns, it's a complete 180. So it's like this.
Okay.
Okay. Like that. You're not going to go like this. People do these really wide turns.
Round it about.
Yeah. You want it to be very sharp.
Okay.
Okay. Questions?
You'll tell me when to stop zapping, or
Correct. When you hear me say the word tap, press your button.
Okay.
If I say tap, 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 if I say tap, 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 that's what you're doing.
Okay.
So I'm giving you the rhythm.
Okay.
Okay. Other questions?
Are you ever just holding it, or is it always
No.
like a continuous?
Always the nick.
Okay.
Yeah. So there is a function on their continuous, which is the smooth one below. That one I feel doesn't allow the dog to kind of, you need the breaks between the hits to let the brain think about how do I turn this off.
Okay.
as opposed to it being on the whole time. Then he's like, what the hell, like how, like it's not even going away.
Right.
Okay, it is a method, but almost every dog I train is this particular style.
Okay.
Okay, and then I'll shout out if we see bikes and stuff in the way.
Okay.
And I would keep to. That's the same.
What's that?
I guess just keep on the side of the path
Okay.
as best you can, right? So here, he is on your left. Go ahead and turn inwards that way.
This way?
Inwards. There you go. Forward. Tap. 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 Good. Relax. Keep moving. Forward. Tap. 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 Now turn to your left. Tap. 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 Forward. You're good. Forward. Now here, if this happens, as you're walking, pull to your right and tap at the same time until he moves to your right side.
Okay.
Okay? Tap. Tap. Right there. Relax. Right. Left turn. Tap. 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 Forward. Tap. 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 Left turn. Tap. Good. Left turn. Tap. Tap. Good. Left turn. Tap. Bite. Good. Let's go to 30. You're at 35, right?
Yes.
Let's go to 38.
You're starting to get it.
Left turn. Tap. Tap. There you go. Forward. Tap. 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 Forward. Tap. Tap. Forward. Tap. Good. Left turn. Good. Left turn. Tap. Good. Tap forward. Good. Slow. You got bites. Turn. Tap forward. Pull to your right.
Yeah, I mean, that's where it's a lot of people on.
You got it. Good.
She's done. She graduated in 17.
Well, biker park, not Warner Park. They already walk.
Getting the hang of it.
But them. Left turn, tap. Good. Left turn, tap. There you go. Good. Good. Now walk slow. Now slowly turn left. Good. Forward. Forward. So here he turned with you. I don't know if you saw that. Good. Go ahead and pick up your pace a little. Very good. Slow walk. Good. Slower. Good. Keep going forward. Yep. Good. Good. Forward tap. There you go. Good. Slow turns left. There you go. Forward. Tap. Tap again. There he is. Good. Going slow again. Stop. Where's Leo? Right next to you, right? He's a little behind. That's cautious. It's fine for now. And you're on 38.
Yep.
Right? So in the beginning, when you put him under stress, he's a nervous dog.
Yeah.
That's a stress response. Right?
Just to run away like
To
that.
run away. Right? It's not the collar making him more nervous. He's already a nervous dog, but that's a stressor. So when you apply the stress, nervous is not going to kick in. So with the vibrate, there's no, it sets him too far, how would you say, he's too far gone, that there's no learning.
Yeah.
So here, because we can adjust it, and I find the number that he was feeling, and when you first started at 35, it was like pretty, like I would say, like back and forth. But then we just went to 38, 3 numbers, and there was a very clear difference between 35 and 38. So even like this is what's hard for people to understand, for me to explain to people, but when they see it, they're like, holy shit, it works.
Yeah.
Is even though he's nervous, people, they tend to dial back on discipline because they don't want to make the dog more nervous. And if you do it incorrect, yes, that can happen. But discipline actually makes them less nervous when you apply it correctly. He's meant to be bitten, is how my mentor would put it. Other dogs, they don't care if he's nervous. If he does something, they just bite him.
Yeah.
Cut the crap.
Yeah.
Right? So, and also here, when you're putting pressure on him, and he finds the answer, right? Because he got nervous doing this, and I said keep him under pressure. So his brain is thinking, when I get nervous and I move away, this doesn't stop. But when I move into dad, right side, and I'm here, it stops.
Yeah.
So you're working them through nervousness, and that's actually what builds confidence. For people, an easy life doesn't build a confident person. It's when you overcome challenges and obstacles, and you're like, oh, like I can handle that.
Yeah.
And it makes you tougher, so to speak.
Yeah.
Same thing here. So people get too concerned about the tool, but it's all about how you use it. Anybody can abuse this, right? Just like a baseball bat, it's meant to play baseball games, but can also become a weapon, right? It's all about how you use it. So this concept that we're teaching here is what I call pressure work, okay? And that pressure goes from very light to very harsh, and you can really fine tune it. He tells you what's too much and what's too little, and what's just right. If it was too little, you'd still be going back and forth. Like you did a few turns and then you made an adjustment, and then I heard you say like, oh, he's getting it. It was very clear. Too harsh would be your vibrating. If you're doing your vibrating, he'd be going, phew, phew, it'd be too much, right? So once you understand what it looks like and you get a feel for how it operates, it's very just intuitive, okay? And we didn't have to say any words. The words don't mean anything. He doesn't know what heel means by definition. He will associate what it means through this, okay? Questions so far?
Oh, I don't
Okay.
think so.
So since he had a moment to break, or to rest, we're going to dip down. We're going to go down to 32. Okay. The reason why we're going to go down is he was literally processing what just happened during this time I was talking to you. Okay? So if I keep it at 38, if his brain's kind of figured out what he's supposed to do, it's going to be more sensitive now. Okay, because there's more focus, there's more understanding. So if you hit him at 38, possibly overreaction. So I dip down just a little bit, just so that when I start off, I don't catch him off guard. And 32 might become 38 in terms of what it communicates. Does that make sense? Yeah. And you might find as you work with him more, your number dips down even lower. He will let you know, okay? Don't ever get married to a number. Every day is different. Your environment's going to be different. If there's something making him nervous in the environment, you might be higher. If it's a nice, empty, blank environment, you might be very low. You always go by his behavior. So he should be right here, no tension, walking right next to you. If I can get that with 12, then 12 is the answer. If I have to be on 105, then 105 is the answer. He tells me what's too much and what's too little. Okay? Questions? So I'm going to have to give a little bit of slack here. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to move forward and we're going to repeat that process, okay? Go ahead. Tap. Left turn. Tap. Tap. Good. Pull to your right, forward, tap. Tap. Good. And relax. Good. Forward. You got it. Tap. Good. Tap forward. Yep, you got it. Good. Slow turn to your left. Yep. Forward. Tap. 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 Let's try 35. Keep forward. Good. Go ahead and pick up the pace a little. And tap. Tap. Good. There he is. And slow turn to your left. Good. Forward. Good. Pick it up a little. And tap. 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 Tap, tap. Tap, tap. A little better. There he is. Go ahead and slow down. Go ahead and stop. Good. So take a look at Miguel. Matt, take a look at Leo. So you see how he's like looking back, right? Give a tap here. Tap. Tap. Let's go to 38. Tap. 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 41. Tap. 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 45. Tap. 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 50. Tap. 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 55. Tap. Tap. Tap.
Oh, that's making like a walk too, but then like
But this is a good example.
kind of
Tap.
tore it apart.
Yeah.
It went all the way here, like all the way right there,
Tap.
over there. They're very far away, so
70.
we're going there for walk.
Tap. Right there. 68. Now I'm going to have you do a light tug forward, stay where you are, and do a tap. Light tug forward. There you go. Walk. Good. And then go down to 55. So what I was trying to show there is he was so concerned about looking this way
Yeah.
that he needed more power. Tap. Tap. There it is. Good. Left turn. Tap. Forward. Good. Pull to your right. Tap. 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 Forward. Got it. Almost. Yep. To your right. Pull. Yep. Forward. Come on. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab higher up, closer to the collar, to give you more leverage as you pull to your right. Okay? There you go. And then relax. Good. Go down to 45. Good. Slow turn left. Good. There you go. So do a light jog. You got a bike coming behind you, just so you know. And then slow down drastically. Yeah, keep forward tap. Good. So you see how he slowed down right there with you? Forward tap, tap, tap. Good, left turn. Tap. Good, there you go. Now slow and stop. Good. Hold right there.
You're training him, huh?
Yeah. Good.
Sweetheart, you're so beautiful.
Right.
You're so good.
Want to give it a go?
Sure?
Yep. Go on spot. So when I had you bumping your number, what I wanted to see was him go from this turn around to step up next to you to close that little gap that was there. Okay, so when you got to like 75, you saw the jump and he turned, right? But you moved forward. So it was just a little bit of leash pressure. You anchor yourself and you get him to close the gap. Okay? And the reason why he did that was that's what I mentioned earlier. He could be looking at something and you'll be tapping and you'll see the contractions, but he's still in tune to what's going on, right? Like that same position right there.
He's like, where's mom?
Looking off into space.
Yes. So you have to override that. And, you know, even though it's something as where's mom, I've had to go really high for some dogs before they'll finally go like, fine, I'll let
keep
go
going.
from over here. Exactly. Okay. So let's say he's staring at a squirrel and you want to practice, how do I disengage Leo from the squirrel because he might just take off, right? That's why I have my leash and I'm just bumping my number. And then maybe it's 85 and he stops looking at the squirrel and then he looks over at you, right? So that gives you like a reference point, like, okay, it took me 85 to get him to disengage from the squirrel. So that later on, if you ever see something, you need to get him under control, you have a baseline.
Remember that number, yeah.
Yep. Okay. Questions?
And you normally work it up in like increments of 4 or 5?
I do 3 to 5.
Okay.
One, and the other thing is the heat. and stress levels
Yeah.
can affect your number as well. So like you could be walking with Leo, and if it's really hot, maybe you start off at 35 and he's perfect, but then at the end of the walk you're like at 85, but he feels it like it's 35 because the body's so hot.
True.
Okay, so if you stop and rest in the shade, you would dip it back down to 35 and then work your way back up again.
Okay.
And as you learn, like, since I know this, I already do it subconsciously, but obviously you guys wouldn't be aware.
Yeah.
You know, because people get stuck on like, oh, but the dog wasn't perfect on 35.
Not
And
this
like,
number.
yeah, you know, 30 minutes ago, I'm like, yeah, but now he's really hot, or he's really stressed.
Yeah.
So that's why I go by the behavior.
Okay.
The number is just, it might vary, but
Yeah.
it gives you a baseline. On a really hot day, it might be this high. When he's really stressed, it might be this high. When it's really calm, it's this low.
Yeah.
Okay?
And like you said, a fur, like I'm sure when we shave him this summer and he doesn't have as much fur
And
to
it might
go
be even
through.
better next year. Correct. Okay? So it's the
Just
bumpy
tap the
one.
top. Yes. I love it. Okay.
Yeah. Clockwise is up, counterclockwise is down.
Okay.
Okay? So go ahead and give Theo some slack here. There we go. And in here, go ahead and turn inwards. There you go. And relax your arms. And forward. And tap. Forward. Tap. Good. Left turn. Tap. Good. Left turn. Tap. Let's bring it down to 35. Good. Yeah, pull to your right. Good job. Relax. Good. Slow left turn. You got people behind you. Good. Good. Relax. Good. Go ahead and speed up a little.
Okay.
And tap. Let's go down 20.
Okay. Okay.
And turn inwards.
Okay.
There you go. Now he's back on your right and relax and forward. Good. So you see how he's overshooting now, right? So then I just dip until I find the number. So earlier 35, 45 was right. Now it's not right. And slow left turn. Good. Forward. Yep. Good. And pick up a little. And tap again. That's better. Left, right turn, left turn. Sorry, tap, forward. There you go. Good. Left turn, tap. Left turn, tap. Might have to go down. Left turn, tap. Got it. Left turn, tap. Now you're pressing the bumpy one, right?
Oh, crap. No. Sorry, I was on the front.
Ah, okay. So that makes a lot more sense now.
Sorry. So what's the front one?
The button on the
That's fine.
side.
Okay, sorry. That's my fault. Okay. Okay.
You're good. And relax. The bumpy one.
Got it.
And forward. Tap.
Oh, I didn't realize there were lots of people.
Left turn. Tap. Tap. Better. Better. So I thought she was doing continuous for a second. Or vibrate. Slow left turn. Good.
Starting to get it.
Go ahead and speed up. Much better. Now slow. Slower. And stop. Take 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. Good. Take 1 big step. Right there. Okay. Now it can be better than that. This is like 80%. Okay. So look at Leo. Give a tap. 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 Let's go to 30. Tap. 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 35. Tap. 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 43. Tap. 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 50. Tap. tap, tap, 60, tap, 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 65, tap. There.
Now you would turn it down then after
Then you
that?
can go back down, right?
Okay.
Now, I'm just doing this to show you the nuances, okay? Because really, he shouldn't be caring about what's over there. He should be more directed towards your direction,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So like, you know, like with the dogs walking by, right? Would Leo typically want to greet the dogs?
Oh,
He'd
yeah.
be pulling, right?
He'd be pulling, he'd want to get to him.
Right. So the reason why he's not doing that now is because of discipline. Now there's something that's more concerning than what's interesting, okay? And it all comes down to the right number. So you see how he's looking away again? So give a tap, 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 70, tap, there, okay? Good. And then what you'll see is you start to be more picky about the stuff as he starts to ignore what's over there.
Yeah.
And I don't need him to be staring at you, but just more so like what's going on over here. Because what ends up happening is something happens over here, he's gonna pull you back.
Get pulled off.
Yes. So what you're doing is you're limiting what's interesting and telling him, nobody, don't worry about that. Okay? When I tell you break and I give you free time, whatever. But right now, we're on a leash. I don't want you to yank me. I don't want you to pull towards other dogs or jump on people. This.
Yeah.
Okay. So, questions?
So this is just for like everyday walking, but let's say I do want him to be able to go off and go to the bathroom. Is that like a different story?
Yeah. So, right now we're not going to worry about the word heel.
Okay.
Okay. That's the command that we're teaching here.
Okay.
Okay. So heel is a two-part thing. Right now, this is part one. We're teaching Leo to pay attention now.
Okay.
Because if he passes you, things happen. But if he's walking next to you, nothing happens, right?
Yeah.
The next part is you moving a certain way to tell him what you're doing. So like right now, I have you slow down before you turn and stop, right? And he's been able to turn with you and stop with you because of the slowing down. So the analogy I use is like driving. We slow down before we stop, and we slow down before we turn, right? Same thing for him. So if you're walking and you just stop, he's gonna keep going.
Yeah.
It's too abrupt. So you slow down first. If he's paying attention, he slows down too. If he doesn't, there he goes, and then what do you do in response? And
Turn.
yeah, right? So then if I need to go this way, I would turn again and try again, okay? So it's your job to keep him here as much as possible, but then it's also your job to communicate with him to let him know that something's changing. As long as he's paying attention and it's obvious, he should catch on and do it with you. It's not going to be perfect right now,
Yeah.
but at least you're able to do these things,
Okay.
okay? The next thing is the off switch. So we're not going to worry about heel, we're just worried about back and forth exercise, okay? We will use a word to tell him that his job is done. The word I use is break.
Break.
Okay, so break. So if I present him to the grass, I wait a moment, he's here, break, and then I walk with him onto the grass. Okay, at that moment you can pee, poop, roll
Go
around,
sniff or whatever.
sniff, have a cigarette, whatever. He's on his own time. And then once you're ready, you would just start walking again and tap, bring him back to the right side. Okay, or some people like to have the dog sit and they'll position themselves. That's fine too.
So you wouldn't say heel there though?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Okay, the first week it's always just back and forth tap. So technically the tap is the heel.
Yeah.
Once he
In his
feels
mind,
that,
that's what he's gonna recognize. Is okay, I need to be here.
correct, right? The reason why I don't say heel now is we're so sound-based, is we're really inclined to start using the word right away, but he has no concept quite yet, right? Like he's learning the
That
concept.
makes complete sense.
Because then I come back and they're going heel, 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 and the dog's still pulling. I'm like, why are you saying heel? Because the dog's pulling. I'm like, but that's what the remote is for,
Right.
and the turning. So they opt, because they feel bad. They don't want to use the remote, so they opt for the word instead. So when I flip it around, they go, you know what, you can't even use the word. You have to use the remote in order to make the dog actually be in position.
Learn the behavior.
Correct, okay? So break is the only thing that we put the word to, which means his job is done.
Okay.
And this is for all commands. Sit, down, stay, come, heel. Break is the release from any of those things, okay? Other questions?
I don't think so, not yet.
So I'm gonna have you do just a quick little back and forth. And what you'll do is you'll pick a point where you'll come to a stop,
Okay.
wait a moment, break, and then I'm gonna have you walk with Leo on the grass for a few seconds.
Okay.
Once you're ready, you'll start to walk again and tap to bring him in position.
Okay.
The one thing I will suggest you do is do it when he's on your right side.
Okay.
Don't do it this way, right? Because then it's going to be harder for him to connect the dots and swing around. So I make it easy and I just give him the answer right there.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So almost turn around.
Yeah,
and then give
you'd
him
have
a
to
break.
turn around in
Like
your
if I
case.
start this way,
Yeah.
turn around, hold
Yeah.
me on my right, and then
Give him a break in the
Break.
grass. Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
And if he switches, like let's say you're like, when you give the break, it's like this, and you're facing this way, no big deal. You just switch so that you're this way once you start again.
Okay.
Okay?
Got it.
Other questions?
No, I don't think so. Not yet.
What's your number again?
70.
So let's go back down. Let's go to 35. Because we're going back to our normal exercise.
Okay.
And forward. Tap. Tap. Good. Left turn. Tap. Good.
Do I like aim over here and say break? Break.
All right. Now walk with him onto the grass. Good. Now what you might see is this.
He's gonna want to keep doing it,
So what I would do then.
which isn't a bad thing, right?
Right. He'll get over it. Is if you see this happen, is I go break and I'll move backwards. So I remove myself from this position, but then he'll default to being on that right side and like walking in the heel. Okay? But that's the general idea. So go ahead and turn that way to go
Okay.
and tap. Careful fight. And now he's working again. And turn when you're ready. Thought about that. You saw that? Thought about crossing to your left.
I could feel it.
Yeah, but he fixed. That's good. You're gonna stop when you're ready. Good. There you go. Now he's free. Good.
Do you
Go.
see it take a little bit after they learn the command to feel like they can roam around during
Yeah,
this time?
that's because since he's had so much discipline, he's really cautious.
Yeah.
So go ahead and bring Leo over here.
Okay.
And I'll give you your homework for the week.
Okay.
Or until I see you next.
Great.
So yeah, remote's that fast.
Yeah, he's catching on quickly.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is why I love remote collar.
Yeah.
It's very simple. Because as long as you understand like the sensibility behind it, and you don't have any qualms with having to go higher if needed, because that's what screws people, is they feel bad because they know what number means, right? But he doesn't know that. He's a dog. The way they relate to things is through biting, which this would never replicate the damage or the discomfort that a dog bite could do. Okay.
Okay.
So when you get your remote, it's going to be different shape. It's going to be a circle and all that stuff. Same functions with a couple of more.
As far as the levels, are they pretty identical? Do you know?
That one goes to 100. This is 127. Now this model is same. It's similar power to yours.
It's 70 to 70. Would be the same.
Yeah. Okay.
I wish we had it. It's going to be here tomorrow. Of course.
That's fine. No, it's fine. This I picked this one because this one's actually relatively close to the power of yours.
Yep.
Okay. So at least there's some familiarity there.
Okay.
So for the way I do this is 80% work and 20% play. So if you go for an hour-long walk, 45 minutes would be here. 15 minutes would be free time. Okay. And you can give more. You can give less. Dogs become what you allow them to do or what you allow them to practice. So if you're practicing more structure now, what we should start seeing is a more confident Leo, because you're putting him under more pressure, which gets him to override his nervousness. If he does get nervous, he's going to have a faster recovery time now because you've worked them through stuff. Okay, and then you start to get a more calmer, stable dog because now you're practicing more structure. Okay, so it's like a kid. If you let a kid do whatever they want, that's the adult that they're going to be, right?
Yeah.
But if you put rules on them, that's the adult that they're going to be. Okay, it's the same thing for the dog. Smaller chunks is better typically, like 3 20-minute walks. But if all you have is 1 solid hour, that's perfectly fine too. There's no such thing as too much because the walking alleviates stress, okay? And it's not redundant. So you're only turning when he pulls ahead, right? So as long as he's doing great and he's beside you, you can just keep going forward. If you need to make any turns or come to a stop, just remember to slow down first. At least 3 steps, more is perfectly fine, okay? When you present him to grass, don't just allow him to pull ahead, okay? If he's walking with you in heel position, you have to make a very clear, distinct stop, wait, then break. You wouldn't walk and during the walk just break him, because what will happen is you'll walk by grass and he'll assume you're going to release me.
You can just go.
Exactly.
So you want to be in the grass before you would say break?
No, what you were doing was fine, like you stopped, but you would want to stop first, wait, break.
And then get
Clear
back.
pause.
Yes.
Okay.
Clear
To allow
pause.
him to realize the difference between.
Yes. And like if you do a quick 1 second break, he's going to pick up that pattern. So next thing you know, every time you stop for a split second,
Off he goes.
off he goes, right?
Okay.
So that's why I always make a very, like I vary the time, make it very exaggerated, now break, and then give the dog the freedom. And he can do whatever, roll around, sniff, and all that stuff.
Okay.
If he's on a break and you're walking, he may pull. Technically, he can do so because he's not under command. With dogs, it's very black and white. Okay, it's either he's under control or he's not. There's no kind of like, well, I want my dog to walk with me, but not pull me so hard. You know what I mean? It's like it's either he's in heel or he's on his break time, you know, pulling and all that stuff. Okay.
Okay.
So 3 20-minute walks is typically better. If all you have is a longer walk, that that's fine. And if you want to put more time into it within the day and do even more, you can. Okay, it's not going to overstress him out or anything like that. The more you expose him to this, the faster he gets over it. Despite the fact that he got nervous, he's actually taking to it pretty well.
Yeah, he's totally calm.
Yeah.
And
it's
you're right. I think the vibrate, like I think with our other collar, we were thinking, oh, this is like the less harsh way to like,
Just
be, like
pain-wise.
shape up, like come
Pain-wise,
over
yeah.
here. This is what we want.
Sure.
But he definitely reacts a lot. I feel like he's way more scared of the vibrate than.
Yes,
than
and
this.
it's not uncommon. Okay. The only thing I use the vibrate for is to test if it's on. So if you're working with Leo, and let's say you like crank it up and you're like at 80 and you see no contraction, I hit the vibrate. Okay. If it doesn't do anything and he has a very clear response, then then I grab the collar, vibrate again. It's not vibrating. Oh, is it off? Did I charge it?
Yeah.
And that's why I always watch the neck. And I'll send you some videos. I explained it today, but this way you can rewatch and get a very clear explanation of how all this stuff works. Okay. Before you start your walk, what I would suggest is you come out, start off with the potty break first, and then find your perception level, and then start your walk. Okay, don't start your walk assuming that 35 is going to be correct. Get it first, and then go for it. Okay. Questions? You did really good.
Thank you.
It was pretty
You
quick.
did good, Lee.
How'd you say? I'm very liberal, very generous with my remoting.
Yeah.
That's what gets me dogs trained very quickly. People tend to wait until the dog's being really bad before they use the remote. I don't even want the dog to get to that point, right? For your general rule of thumb, his left shoulder should be parallel to your right leg. That's your visual. Okay, so it's like if you're walking shoulder to shoulder with somebody. Okay, so even if he's going ahead an inch, turn. Okay, turn and tap, because dogs will learn to play with that little inch, and then you'll see them kind of forging back and forth. I had a client earlier today whose dog was doing that for a bit because they have a little guy, and you could see him in the videos. He's kind of like
Back and
going
forth.
like this, yeah. And I was like, yeah, we got to correct that. Okay, so the more black and white you are with your obedience and what you expect, the better he will be.
Okay.
Okay.
So then I guess one question just popped into my mind. Other than like when we're turning, getting him back to your side, if he's slightly behind you, how do we feel about, not like where I'm dragging him, but he's just walking maybe like
A foot or two.
right here.
If it's like a foot, if it's been a long walk and it's hot, I leave it alone.
Okay.
He's hot, okay? But like right now, it was more so too much caution because of the remoting now, okay? That's why I said speed up and tap. So you're essentially going opposite to him, right? So when he was pulling to the left, you pulled to the right, you tapped to bring him to the right. When he passed ahead, you went the other way. When he was going too slow, I had you speed up to get him. So you're just creating gap.
You're trying to get him right here at all times, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Other questions? Okay. You guys can borrow this until
Sure.
you get yours in.
It's
I have.
here tomorrow, right?
It gets, it should be in by 9 o'clock tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Alright.
So this way, you know, you can keep working with it. I have a bunch of extra collars.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. And then the other charger won't work on this, by the way. Okay. So once you get yours, these batteries last a long time.
Okay.
But don't worry about charging it because they don't.
Not compatible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I mean, I think I mainly talked to you about what we wanted to address during this whole thing. Do you have
Yes.
anything else to add there? I know.
I think for today it went really well,
yeah.
though. I think just like aside from walking, aside from him being just like anxious and yada yada yada, I think the one thing. So we're moving back to Des Moines, where my family is from, in like a month.
Okay.
My parents have 2 dogs, an older one, she's 12, and then the younger one just turned 1, so she's about Leo's age.
The resource guarding thing.
Yeah.
Yes, and sometimes, he just takes it too far, even sometimes when they're playing, but it's the resource guarding, like they'll be in drinking at their water bowl when he's not even in where their food and water is, and he'll go at them and just snap.
Yeah. So there's a slight possibility that this resolves it. Because
Okay.
now he's getting disciplined, and he's not like in his own head all the time. Okay. If not, it's actually a relatively easy thing to fix.
Okay.
When it comes to correcting behaviors, and when I talked to Kyle, I was like, everything that you've listed is relatively minor,
Okay.
because it's even though there's a multitude of behaviors, it's one consequence, right? So like if you run a red light, if you speed, you know, if you cut someone off, ticket, right? Of varying prices. As a consequence, right? So for him, our consequence would be the e-collar, and we'll do a Zoom, and I'll talk about other ways of correcting him, so you don't have to have that always on him. But expect whenever he's going to be off leash, whenever you take him out for a walk, this tool is on him, because it's like a cop on a collar that's going to keep him in check. You're not having to use it all the time, like it was getting less and less, right? But the presence of it, like lets him know, like, okay, mom and dad have control. I have to behave myself. Okay, it's not like a kid. Okay. It's nothing good or bad. It has nothing to do with like the level of training. It's simply if he knows that collar is not on, he's gonna be like, screw this. I don't have to walk and heel. Make me. You know, that's how it works.
Okay.
Okay.
So then between this session and the next one, should we keep it on him when he's off leash, just around the house? Like, how do we know when to use it at that point?
Just use it for the stuff we've covered.
Just
So
for
all your walks.
week 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's taking to it well, so I don't think he needs to wear it throughout, like like in the house and stuff.
Okay.
If you take him to go play at the dog park or something, feel free to have it on him. So he starts to associate it like, oh, it's not always discipline. Like sometimes I have it on and I'm playing with dogs. Okay.
Good point.
So it'll help him get more comfortable with it.
Okay.
If he's going to be wearing it longer than 2 hours, rotate the collar because he'll develop pressure sores from 2 contact points. Okay. So every 2 hours you just rotate. It's nothing from the stem. It's just 2 things, like bed sores.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if he's just wearing it for your short training sessions and what have you, he's perfectly fine.
Okay.
And I also suggest just alternating each side whenever you put it on them. Because if you always use the same spot, it's possible that they get pressure sores as well. Okay. Anything else?
No. All good.
Okay. It was a good session. So the next class will be the second half of heel.
Okay.
Then the next 2 I would anticipate would be recall stuff.
Okay.
And then 5 and 6 would most likely be either tweaking things, advancing things, or covering some other kind of obedience. The behavior stuff you noted
Nipping.
is the Zoom stuff.
Okay.
That's something. These sessions I'd rather us use when I'm present.
Yeah.
The Zoom sessions is really just FYI because once you understand how that works, it's very easy. Okay.
All right.
Anything else?
No.
Perfect.
Awesome. Good job,
very
guys.
much.
Right.
Thank you.
So we'll see you whenever the next. Do you know what the next one is?
Saturday.
Saturday.
It's Saturday.
And then as far as watching that, when you guys upload that, or where could we watch that at? Or?
YouTube.
Okay, YouTube.
Yeah, and I'll put his name up. I'll go Leo, and then I put a short
Is it
description.
under the Chicago Dog Whisperer or
Canine Perspective.
Canine Perspective?
I'll send you the link.
Okay.
Yep, and then I have other people too, so they can always you refer to other people if needed. But I think you'll be just fine. He did really well.
Okay, and then our homework is 3 20-minute walks a day at least.
Correct.
The color.
Correct.
Okay.
And then keeping him here as much as possible.
Okay.
Okay. Don't worry about distance. It's all about position. Okay. The more you focus on position, you'll end up doing more distance. People tend to focus on distance for the exercise. This is very exhausting.
Yeah.
Controlling impulses, working through nervousness, that emotional response, and the discipline from the collar is like exhausting.
He's tired.
Yeah. But he's chill. He's super passive right there. Yeah, that's good. Okay.
All right.
All right, guys. It was a pleasure. We'll
Really
be in
appreciate
touch.
it.